There's a myth in this culture, and it goes as follows. The older you get, the wiser you become. It's this idea that the older you are, the more wise you are. That wisdom is directly proportionate to age. That as you get older, so too will you become wiser. But it turns out that this is so far from the truth. Now, allow me to explain a little bit. So, in a perfectly beautiful and linear world, this is true. Where the longer you spend on this earth, the wiser you become. You accumulate experiences, new thoughts, new perspectives, new insights, and so you implement them, therefore becoming a wiser individual as time goes on. But that's not necessarily how it works. And it's unfortunate in a way, because that would be beautiful if that were the case, where you just go through your life and every single year you're wiser and wiser and wiser and wiser. But see, here's the vast difference that I want to illustrate in this video. It's not time that makes you wise. It's your implementation of the experiences that happen throughout time that make you wise. Meaning, your time here on earth is not a free ticket to wisdom. Your time here on earth is a potential to learn. It's an opportunity to learn. Wisdom isn't a given. It doesn't just come with time. You don't just get wise by staying alive. Wisdom is something that is born out of implementation and integration of different perspectives and insights as time goes on. Now, I don't want to bash like older people in saying that just because you're old it doesn't mean you're wise, and there's this whole idea, respect the elders and all this stuff, and once you're my age then you'll understand. But what I want to emphasize in this video is that the time alone doesn't do it to you. Here's the thing. When you've been here for, let's just say, 60 years on Earth, that means that you've had 60 years of an opportunity to learn and to grow. Now, where it becomes true and valid that somebody who's 60 years old is wiser than somebody who's 16 years old is that the 60-year-old has had 60 years to potentially become wise. The 16-year-old has had only 16 years old to potentially become wise. But here's the kicker. If that said 60-year-old has not taken the time to work on themselves and has not taken the time to learn and grow and let go of toxic patterns of thinking and become a wiser, more healthy, compassionate, holistic being, they've just wasted their time being negative for 60 years. The 60 years itself doesn't do it for you. The 60 years is a window of time that you've had at your disposal to become wise. If somebody is 60 years old, but they're negative and cynical and toxic and judgmental and critical and mean and just nasty, they've just been a jerk for 60 years. And if it were true that the older you get, the wiser you get, shouldn't they be wise? Wouldn't that be how it works naturally and rationally if that were the case? Yeah, that's how it would be. But it's not the case entirely. See, we can get in a rhythm, in a pattern of our life, because we're creatures of habit, where we just go through the motions. And next thing we know, we've spent 3, 4, 5 decades living a negative, calloused lifestyle where no growth has taken place. And now you're 60 years old, yeah, you've gone around the sun 60 times, but that isn't correlated to any sort of development of your soul or any development of your mind. You're just a 60-year-old jerk. Haven't you noticed? Haven't you noticed how crabby and nasty and negative old people can be? You begin to see, watching this video and relating it to all those experiences of all the people who are 2 times your age, 3 times your age even, that are jerks, you begin to get the taste of the fact that age isn't what makes you wise. Age is a variable of time, which is time that you've had to potentially become wise. Now see, it is very true that somebody who's, let's just say again, 60 years old, and they have 60 years of experience. So somebody, a 60-year-old individual who has integrated these experiences throughout their life and learned and inquired and reflected on these said experiences and kept their mind and their heart open and remained steadfast in self-development, the 60-year-old will be absolute magnitudes beyond experience and wisdom than a 16-year-old. But the reason that's the case is not because he's 60 years old, but because he's utilized the 60 years. So what I'm saying here is it's a matter of you utilizing your time. Now, a way that this manifests for me in seeing that the older you are doesn't necessarily directly translate to the wiser you are is at the age of 16 years old. I'm 24 right now. And I love talking about this because I'm young as hell. I'm a kid. I'm literally 24 years old. I know I'm like considered an adult, but here I am, 24 years old. Honestly, like the beginning of my life. And when I look out at the world around me, and I look at my elders, and I look at people older than me, 30, 40, 50, 60 and on. And I see how they're living their life. I see what they do. I see how they talk to people. I see how they talk about themselves. I see their habits. I see their routines. I see the way they live their life. It's often horrifying. I don't want to be like that. I don't want to think like that. I don't want to act like that. And the reason it's horrifying is because there's a deep-seated idea within my mind that because they're older, they should be like a guide for me. That would be nice. It's kind of like what I was saying in the beginning. It would be nice if the older people and the elders were the authoritative guides that led us in the direction of growth and transformation, but that's not the case, guys. That's not the case. A lot of these people that are older than us, I don't know how old you are, but it still goes for you as well, regardless of how old you are. A lot of these people that are older than us are not living lives that we would like to live. At least that's how it is for me. A lot of people older than me are not living life in a orientation that I aspire to. A lot of it is scary. Now see, this is where it brings into the question that there are two kinds of people in your life that will teach you. There are those who lead by example of how to be, and those who lead by example of how not to be. And both of these two teachers, those who teach you how to be and those who teach you how not to be, are irrespective of age. There can be somebody 10, 20 years younger than you who is inspiring, who teaches you, who opens your mind in a very curious way, who represents a quality of living that you look up to. The age doesn't matter. And then there can be somebody 20, 30 years older than you, as I've been saying, who is a spitting image of how not to be. I'm sure at least one of you watching this video right now has come across somebody in your life where they are a walking guidebook of how not to live your life. For me, it's in my immediate family. I see this person and I say, okay, I take my little psychological notebook out and I say, okay, don't do that, okay, definitely don't act like that, all taking note of how he's acting. He's a walking example of how not to be. And see, here's the beautiful part. That's a teaching. That's a teaching. But it's only a teaching when you're living from the perspective of being able to grow regardless of how old you are. When you're living from the perspective of learning, both positive and negative people in your life are teachers. But some teach you how not to be, while others teach you how to be. Now see, it's not a direct teaching either where the older crabby people are saying to you, don't be like me, don't be like me. I mean, maybe in some situations, but generally speaking, they're not reflecting it to you. They're just being a jerk. And by you recognizing that that's how not to be, what you're recognizing, you're coming from the place of self-development and self-healing and wisdom, really. When you're able to reflect on something and see that that's not how you want to be, irrespective of their age, you're coming from a place of development. And then the person that you aspire to, they're often not saying, hey man, you should be like me. They're just leading that beautiful lifestyle that you aspire to. And by being it, they're leading by example. And it's so profound to me that age doesn't matter in this perspective. The age doesn't do it to you. The amount of times you've gone around the sun doesn't correlate to how wise you are. I'll say it again. Your age is only a period of time, a window of time that you've had the potential to become wiser, better, kinder, smarter. It's potential. It's pure just potential energy. But the question you need to ask yourself is, are you using that time accordingly? Are you using that time wisely? Are you using that time and the experiences happening in that period of time to your advantage? A lot of us aren't. This is something that I think I said it a moment ago, but it's alarming to me. When I see somebody 2 times my age acting or reacting to me in a way that is like really negative, and I see, oh, okay, I can't trust that as a guide, as an authority. And this is really freaky when it's like your parents or something, or the people in your immediate life. Remember being a little kid and your parents and with that, all adults and grown-ups seemed like this omnipotent, God-like authority where they knew everything and they had all this power and strength and control and they could do it all. Remember that feeling when you were young? And then you get, 14, 15, 16 years old and sort of the independence of your sovereign mind starts to kind of come online and you start to get that little edgy teenager vibe. And the reason that is because that independence is coming online and you're starting to realize, oh shit, daddy doesn't have it all together. Mommy's a little bit crazy. That mean teacher in high school isn't just a mean teacher. She's a mean teacher because she's not happy inside and she doesn't know how to live life in a fulfilling way. This is how it was for me, is as I got older, I started to realize, oh my God, these beings who were my guides for all of the past of my life, I'm starting to realize I don't want to be like this. I don't want to live my life in this way. There's a being in my life who says, he's very negative, very cynical. And he says, once you're my age, then you'll understand, Devin. And what I hear when he says that is, once you're my age, then you'll be a dick too. And the way that I register that, I was like, no. Just because that's how your life is, that's not a given. It's not like once you're 50 years old, you turn into a cruel, sour dick. That's not how it works. And when he says that to me, I'm like, no, dude, hopefully, once I'm your age, I'm magnitudes beyond where you're at right now. Because where you're at right now, I'm not even there anymore. I'm not even in that state anymore. I'm not in a state, and he's coming from this perspective of life beats you down, and once you're my age, then you'll see how hard and rough and negative it all is. But see, I understand that there's hardships and setbacks and letdowns and very intense degrees of suffering in life. But what do I want to do with that? That's the question. What do I want to do with those setbacks? Do I want to become beaten down, victimized, calloused, a cold heart, negative, mean, reactive, closed-minded? Is that how I want to respond to the experiences of life? Or do I want to use these hard experiences in my life as catalysts for growth and development and wisdom? Do I want to use the criteria of my life, the stuff of my life to awaken? Use what's coming down the pike in every given moment, every single day, to grow, to become wiser, to become better than I was 5 minutes ago, better than I was yesterday. That's a good one, is rather than trying to be better for somebody else, make that somebody else who you were yesterday. Be better than you were yesterday. Be a little bit, just 1% more than you were yesterday. So the old age isn't a free ticket to wisdom. The old age, the longer you're here on earth, means you've had more time to get your shit together. So if you're 50, 60 years old and you're a cruel, bitter jerk, you've wasted your time. You are wasting your time. And also, newsflash, you can teach a dog new tricks. An old, bitter, callous person can become a wise, compassionate person. And see, here's the beautiful part. There's almost a feel to it that because they're 50 years old, 60 years old, and they've been negative all this time, it almost feels as though if a revelation were to happen, the growth would like reflect all the way up until that point. And there would be a huge transformation. Now see, I say it's alarming when I see all these people around me that are leading a life that I don't want to lead, because there's like something built into us where we want a leader. Our whole life as children we had parents. They were our leaders. And we weren't in control at that time. And how we were raised by our leaders drastically affects the way we personally live our lives. And it also doesn't mean it has to go in a negative direction either. It can also go in a very positive, transformational direction. But nevertheless, we have this feeling of wanting a leader. And it's almost startling to imagine, what if you're the one who's got it the most together around you? Now, I'm not saying that that's how I feel, but what I'm saying is when I see people 2-3 times my age around me, and they're negative and judgmental and arrogant and mean, I don't want to be like that. So I can't help but feel like I am the one who needs to be the authority in my life in this situation. I realize the learning and the teaching and the development is up to me. It's not something that I can get from those around me. It's up to me. That's part of what becoming individuated and independent is realizing that your growth is up to you. You know, it's said you can take a horse to the water, but you can't make it drink. You can be 60 years old, but that doesn't mean you've drank from the well of wisdom for that 60 years. The age isn't going to do it to you. It's up to you to learn and to implement and to grow. Nobody's going to do it for you. Now see, there will be people in your life, because like I said, there's two kinds of teachers. Those who teach you how not to be, and then there's going to be people who lead by example of how you want to be. Those are the people you want to surround yourself by. Most of my teachers in my life are those that I don't even know. People I don't even know. Lecturers, teachers, YouTubers, authors. It's people I don't even know. And those are the ones to which I look up to. Is teachers that I find that reflect back to me something I aspire to. Something that resonates with my soul. Something that when I see them and what they're doing and how they live their life, I say, yeah, man, that's how I want to be. That's how I want to live my life, you know? And it would be nice if life were so neat and pretty and linear where everybody who is a little bit older than you is a little bit smarter than you. But that's not the case. Your development is in your hands. Now, at first glance, this can be like, oh my God, it's up to me to grow. The old people around me aren't going to help me do it. It can be alarming, but you know what? It's also empowering when you flip it on its head a little bit. It lifts you up. It's good. It's up to you to learn. It's not something that's dependent on the elders and the authorities, you know? Now, it's so powerful to have teachers and guides and friends who help you along the path. But yeah, what I'm trying to really illustrate in this video is that just because they're older doesn't mean they're wiser. You know, like it's funny. I've had people in my life, you know, I'm 24 years old, and there's been people in my life that are like 27, 28, and they come over and they're like, oh my God, you're just a little baby. That's what they say to me, and I'm like they seem so much like more immature, and like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Age does not reflect wisdom. Age does not correlate to wisdom, and vice versa. Just because you're older doesn't mean you're wiser. And it's honestly a blessing. It's honestly a blessing in a way, because that means that your teachers aren't just those out in front of you. Your teachers can also be those behind you in age, you know? Like, I have a beautiful example of this, how me and my mom, if you've watched my YouTube live streams, you know her as the spiritual witch. She's my beautiful, saintly, heavenly mother, and I love her so much, and we share such a sacred connection. And we are on the spiritual journey together. And she'll tell me often, she'll be like, I can't believe you're learning this stuff at the age you are. Because she's 50 years old and I'm 24. And the way it always occurs to me is, yeah, I know I'm 24 learning it and you're 50 learning it, because we're like working with the same stuff at the same time. But see, here's the thing. We're both learning it at the same time. She's 50, I'm 24, but we're both learning the same spiritual insights at the same time in our lives. So it's not better or worse to learn it later or earlier. It's just different. It's just different. The important factor in it is utilizing your time here on earth to grow. Now, what this leads me to talking about is how a 60-year-old who's a jerk may not be equipped with the ability to translate life experiences into wisdom and awakening. The way that I feel personally about this is how we come into this life as different, independent, unique souls, unique expressions of the One, unique expressions of God. And we all have our own journey to go on. We all have our own stuff that we're gonna do here. You know how I have 2 twin baby brothers, little brothers, they're 10 years old. Twins, nevertheless they're twins, but they're completely different. They're completely different because 2 different souls are inhabiting those bodies that are genetically very similar, you know? 2 different souls, raised in the same family, all of it, but completely different. That's because they're 2 different souls with 2 different criteria of what's to be done here on earth. Where someone comes in and at 16 years old has awakening into the beauty and the mystery of reality and awakens, and all of this wisdom and growth and spiritual transformation ensues. Whereas somebody, I keep using 60 years old because that's a nice little medium there where you're 60 years old, man. A 60-year-old has never had that spark of awareness. They were meant to live this life in a dull, shallow, surface level, negative, kind of just drudging, going through the motions kind of way. Now that's not better or worse. But what I'm pointing to is how the age alone is not the dominant variable in the development of wisdom. The dominant variable in the development of wisdom is this sort of prerequisite awareness within you that sees this life as a training ground, as an opportunity to grow. Where you don't want to get encrusted in habits and negative routines and patterns of thinking, but rather you want to see the beauty every day. And you want to utilize your life as a means of growing, not as a means of just, oh, another day, another dollar. Are you kidding me, bro? Like this life, look around. This is a vast, infinite, vibrating mystery that we get to be a part of. And nature and emotions and relationships and love and beauty and pain and all of it. This mystery. And we're all going to die. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but we're all going to die. Does this experience not register to you as something profound? Does this experience not register to you as something to utilize? You're alive, bro. You're alive and you're not going to be forever. So start working on alchemizing the experiences of your life into jet fuel for awakening. Stop going through the motions. Stop waiting for life to do it for you or do it to you. You got to do it, bro. You got to do it. And just because you're older doesn't mean you're wiser. Every time you go around the sun is not indicative of a development of awareness, a development of wisdom. Every time you go around the sun is another lap that you've been given to grow. But did you grow or not? That's up to you. That's for you to answer. It's powerful stuff, man. It's powerful stuff. Age isn't going to do it to you. It's up to you. It's up to that spark of awareness within you. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed. This is a topic that I like. I love talking about this. If you like this content, by the way, right now I'm offering completely free coaching sessions, by the way. If you go to the top of my YouTube channel, in the links section, you're going to see a link that says Beta Coaching Program. And in there you can apply for a completely free 1-hour session with me where we can talk about anything in this sort of area of development. Spirituality, self-transformation, authenticity. So I just thought I'd offer that to you, where if you like this content, definitely sign up for that, because I'm only offering these free sessions for a short period of time. But also, if you like this video, before you click off, do your boy a favor and leave a like on this video. It helps these videos go so far. And yeah, if you like the content, subscribe to my channel, because I post stuff like this every single week. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. And with that said, I will see you all in the next video.